This is the GMC Canyon with the 2.8 liter Duramax and the Jeep with the 3.0 liter EcoDiesel, two of the newest additions to the diesel market. These are smaller diesels. They're not the 6.6 liter and 6.7 liters that we're used to dealing with. So we got a little bit to learn, but we're going to take you along on that trip. How about compared to the EcoDiesel?
EcoDiesel is an entirely different ride. I think it's more plush. It's got a little more refinement to it.
We're going to take these testing on the tow circuit. We're going to drive them. We're going to drive the wheels off them. We're even going to take them to the drag strip. We're going to give you our full, honest feedback on how we think they stack up against each other, what the pluses and minuses are of both platforms. The GMC Canyon and the Chevy Colorado are both powered by the same straight 4, a 2.8 liter baby Duramax. It's backed by a 6-speed automatic, the 6L50, and it's rated at 181 horsepower and 380 foot-pounds of torque. It's got a pretty strong tow rating at 7,700 pounds. The Jeep EcoDiesel is a V6, backed by an 8-speed automatic, all-wheel drive, stock 240 horsepower and 420 foot-pounds with the Advantage. The Jeep Turbo Diesel has a tow rating of 7,200 pounds. It shares the same powertrain as the EcoDiesel and the half-ton trucks. I don't have access to one of those, so we're going to use a Jeep. Our first comparison, towing. We loaded our 3,200-pound 1970 Nova on a 2,200-pound aluminum trailer and hit the road. The 2.8 liter Duramax gets the job done surprisingly well. I can see this as a really good fit for a weekend warrior, guy who has a race car or a boat, still wants good mileage. The throttle's responsive. I mean, you know something's back there, but it's not going to hold up traffic. It's not embarrassingly slow. It doesn't lug excessively or feel like it's working really hard at this level. You know, it's rated for 7,700 pounds, but if you're going to go over this 5,000 pound level regularly, you probably owe it to yourself to consider a little bit bigger platform. So first impressions, feels pretty nice. I mean, I feel like I'm in control of the vehicle. It's always a good thing, right?
From a passenger perspective, definitely feels firm. Got a feel for the inside, well planted.
Yeah.
You know there's something behind you, but not over concerned.
Right. It doesn't feel like it's wagging the tail around. I mean, it feels like the truck has got good suspension for the load. You can see it squats a little bit. I mean, where you put the Nova on the trailer could definitely play into the feel here.
Yep.
But we're hitting some rough ground. I don't feel the truck really porpoising or making it like, obnoxious. We've all been in those feelings where you're hitting expansion joints in the highway, but not really. It's just the truck doing it.
The woes of towing.
The woes of towing, exactly. Truck gets up to speed nice. I mean, the powertrain, 180 horsepower, I wasn't really expecting that much, honestly. I mean, I did have the opportunity to put 400 miles on this truck, towing a trailer just about this size over the weekend. Was pretty impressed with how it handled. I ran it in normal mode, so I have the option between normal mode and tow haul mode. I tried both.
Sure.
I felt normal mode was more matched to the even roads of Illinois and the level we're at. When we got in the hills, I did feel the urge to use the tap shifter, so we have manual mode where you can tap shift up and down.
It's nice.
Yeah, a nice little feature. I mean, you do have
reaching high for this.
Yeah, no trying to work the column or if you've driven a 2006 or newer Duramax, you know how nice it is to have a tap shifter when you're towing. The tow haul mode on this truck also has the exhaust brake, which closes the exhaust vanes up. I know you got that on your Duramax.
Yep.
Nice little feature. Much smaller turbocharger, much smaller engine here. Definitely nowhere near the braking power of a full-size Duramax, but better than nothing.
Yeah, assisted. It helps slow the load down.
Yeah, everything you can pull off the brakes, right? I mean, having good trailer brakes, having the turbine brake, anything you can pull off the brakes, especially on a truck that's smaller like this and has smaller brakes. Now you have to remember, I'm used to 400 and 500 horsepower trucks, so I thought the stock Canyon with its 181 horsepower would hold up traffic, but it doesn't. The shifts are nice and firm. I don't feel like the truck is maxed out. But remember, we're traveling on level ground. We're in northern Illinois. We're not on big hills. We're not in South Dakota. We're not in Colorado. So I'm going to just roll into the throttle here and you get a feel for how the trans shifts at full tilt and locks up. shifts at 3,600, locks up. We're not going into hyperdrive by any means, but saw a little crust. You know, we're 1,500 degrees right now in the manifold. 22 pounds of boost. So the transmissions shifts good.
Yeah.
I mean, the diesel performance guy at heart here is a little concerned about those exhaust gas temperatures, but who might argue with the GM engineers? If that's where they want to run it, that's where they want to run it. So you got 4 low, 4 high, and auto. Kind of a neat feature, right?
Yep.
I will tell you, driving it in 4 auto, there is some noise in the transfer case. Maybe noise isn't the word for it, but you can just feel that the transfer case is, yeah, exactly. I accidentally left it in auto once after backing up in some wet grass, and it was just kind of the whole way home scratching my head, like what changed on the truck, and then remembered that I was in 4 auto. I feel like it's as strong at half throttle as it is at full throttle. You know what I mean? Like by the time you get to half throttle, like full throttle just calls for more RPM, longer shifts.
When you roll into it, you have plenty of acceleration for what you want it to do with what we have behind us. Once you get up to speed, it's not a lot left, but it still has ability for maneuverability.
Yeah, you're going to want to check and make sure you got some room if you're doing the passing maneuver, but it's not like it's...
You're not going to get brisk passing.
No.
Let's put it that way. But you're not going to be a fool out there either.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to be in the right lane with your hazards on the hill, but just play it cool. Now on to the EcoDiesel. This is a 3-liter V6, common rail fuel injected, just like the 2.8-liter Duramax. The EcoDiesel also has a similar emission setup, so it's variable geometry, it's got DPF, SCR, EGR, all the goodies. It's very similar in those respects to the Duramax, except it's a V6. It has a slightly larger turbocharger and a little more horsepower. 212 on the all-wheel drive dyno compared to 180 on the 2.8-liter.
The ride itself feels entirely different.
This thing rides nice.
It does ride nice. It rides really nice. I mean, you feel the pull and give of the vehicle behind us, but it's taking all of the road away from it.
Yeah.
You don't feel the jouncing, and you're not feeling out all the imperfections of the surface you're driving on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Canyon did its best, but it was at task.
For sure. I mean, there's a $12,000 difference in what I paid for these vehicles, so it's to be expected, right? Yeah. This one has air suspension. Bonus.
Yeah.
So we drop the trailer on it, and all of a sudden the back end comes up, and that was a big deal. I'll just load level for you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
So 6th gear. It kind of likes to hang in 6th gear. I've noticed
It likes 6th gear.
It does. 57, almost 60 miles an hour, throttling down, downshift to 7th.
Yeah,
as soon as you lean into it, it goes right back to that 6th gear.
The 8th is more like a placeholder. The 7th, it'll pull a little bit.
Okay.
You know? Well, towing anyway.
It's not lack of power. It doesn't feel like it's struggling at all.
No, it just is shifting.
Yeah, it just likes to be where it likes to be.
The Jeep EcoDiesel has more creature comforts. This thing is nice. It has a better ride and more power than the 2.8-liter Duramax. Unlike the Canyon, the Jeep does not offer an integrated brake controller. This is a miss from the factory. However, you can always put the aftermarket unit on and fix it. Stock for stock, powertrain, we have to give the nod to the EcoDiesel. It's simply stronger and smoother. It's got an edge over the Duramax. But let's take another look at the 2.8-liter with a tune update. After all, that's what we're about here, Duramaxtuner.
That's nice. Smile? That's nice. Wow, that's an entirely different truck, man.
Yeah, it really shows through with the trailer behind you.
This isn't an artificial smile. This is for real.
It's the genuine thing. Our calibration for the 2.8-liter significantly outperforms the GM design. We've widened and raised the factory torque curve, allowing the truck to shift and lock up the converter sooner without bogging and lugging. The result is improved performance, lower fuel consumption, and it works with the factory emissions equipment. It's just flat out fun to drive. It's another example of Duramaxtuner's commitment to clean diesel performance. Let's take both these hot rods to Union Grove and run them down the drag strip. So what did we learn after a night at the drag strip? Well, first thing we learned is that these vehicles aren't exactly easy to launch, and the race is won and lost on the starting line. If you can launch with traction control off, StabiliTrak off, at a good boost level in four-wheel drive, you can make a good pass in one of these things. And by good pass, I mean consistent and competitive. 16.0 at 83 miles an hour. What we found out is that guys running good, making good good launches are 16.0 at 83. And that's pretty much the same between the Jeep and the Canyon. They're both right there, neck and neck. You put the tune on the Canyon, and things change a little bit. You can pick up about another half second on the pass, so you're 15.5 now, and just over 86 miles an hour. So it's a nice little jump in front. You know, it definitely tells a story of extra power. Not quite as much as driving the truck, but certainly faster. If you want to hear more about what the guys who were actually driving that night had to say about the vehicles, check out the Diesel Performance Podcast. Drag racing the 2.8 liter Canyon versus the 3.0 liter EcoDiesel Jeep. I hope you've enjoyed our review of the 2.8 liter Canyon and the 3.0 EcoDiesel. Let's get this Nova off the trailer and use it for what we brought it for. I'm Nick, thanks for watching.